Good evening, everyone. My name is Danish Ejaz. I am not just known for marketing, but also I am known for another venture of mine, which is a premium soda company in Karachi called 1 Degree Centigrade. I'm one of the partners in it. And with that, I also run an advertising agency called Madvertising, which started 4 years ago. And we have now clients in Pakistan, United United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, as well as in Australia. And I've been associated with advertising for past 19 years, and I've worked on local and global brands, and have uh, pretty hands-on knowledge of a lot of categories and sectors that I can work on, be it offline communication or online communication. So in these 19 years, the main core focus before oversimplification of digital marketing was how are we going to build a narrative and how we're going to sell our brand. So that was one very critical thing that used to happen. Um, Most of the time, it was a specialized field for a lot of people, and people wanted highly qualified people to work on their brands. However, the power of digital actually democratically distributed the system that a person who's running their own business can actually also do social media marketing. It does sounds like a very good proposition, but keeping the dynamics of Pakistan, and also of course the product nature, it at times limits you, or at times becomes the only stream. So we do see both the extremes at the same time. So whenever we started talking about the art of branding, or anything like we're talking about the brand, the very first question that pops in is, if you're not going to advertise, will people know about us, know about our brand, know about our product that we are trying to sell? And of course, collectively, everybody can agree that the answer will be no. If you do not advertise, people will not know about it. There are certain ways of advertising, of course, yes. But I've also experienced one thing with not just the younger lot that is coming in, but also the senior people that are with me, uh, is that whenever we are talking about something, brand communication or any other point, they silo themselves from the competition, from the customer, everywhere. So, may I know who belongs to the advertising industry in the customer in the list of the participants that sits right now? Is there anybody who has been in advertising for good years? Moise raises the hand. Anybody else? Moise, yeah. So, so Moise, tell me one thing. Whenever you're working on the strategy, how many times have you actually gone and visited the customer?
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for this session. I agree it's very limited communication with the customer. And I do agree that we should have more of those.
No, no, it's
Uh,
okay. The idea of asking this question was that in most of the advertising scenarios, the only point that we actually talk to our customer is either at the research, or if you are forced to travel with somebody and then we found out they are our customer. However, advertising is all about understanding the customer and then providing the solution to their brand. So it can be as easy as understanding your problem, looking at your brand, where exactly does that brand provides the solution to that customer, and just letting the person know, hey, you have X problem. I have this product that actually will help you in that X problem, and you will be happy. So why don't you buy it? So this is the simplest form of advertising that I can talk about. And then you have a lot of complicated situation. Why? Because you have products which are in competition to you. Then what will you do at that point in time? So whenever we talk about the branding or marketing, the very first thing about the The actual world is, number one, we have limited resources. Even when we are marketing our brands or we are developing our brands, we have limitations. I remember back in 2011, Dove was being launched in Pakistan, and from Ogilvy, I was the one who was working as the account director on it. And the brand manager and I, we were sitting together and we were talking about how are we having a bit of a problem in terms of acquiring the raw materials to create a perfect blend for Pakistani audience, keeping the weather, the skin factors, and the scalp of the Pakistani customers in mind. Normally in advertising agencies, most of the advertising agencies, we normally do not talk about these kind of things anymore. And if you're not going to be connected with your product, if you not know the ingredients or resources of your product or the resources of the world, you will not be able to market your brand. And then of course, everybody knows that every product that is being made is not 100% perfect product. There might be some side effects to it, or there might be some problems to it. So for example, a very good moisturizer still is not going to be a good solution for an oily skin. And what will you do at that point of time? So, things like these, you have to understand where are you going and where exactly do you see the limitations of your brand and your customer and your location where you are. And then the third point, which is also very, very critical, is you will always have a competition. If the competition is not going to be there, then okay, you have either education to the customer, that you need to tell people that what exactly does this product do. Again, I will quote Unilever over here. Back in 2012, they launched fabric conditioner, which was officially not present in Pakistan, but unofficially there were multiple products available. However, the variants that are there were either too strong or they were either too diluted, which was causing a lot of disbelief about the brand itself altogether. So Unilever took the responsibility of creating awareness about the fabric conditioner, so people should understand why do they need fabric conditioner in humid areas. And of course, at the end of the day, the person who's buying your product, the customer, what do they think about you or your brand? If you don't know about this, then there's a problem. Right now, even a lot of people in Karachi do not know me as a person who's into the advertising industry, but they know me as one of the partners from 1 degree centigrade, which is again an achievement because 1 degree centigrade took 2.5 years, and I've been in advertising for more than almost 2 decades. So the comparison, the level of acknowledgement that my brand is giving it to me, something I was unable to get it from my career. And one of the major reason is because we understood these 4 points, that we have limited resources, we are still stuck in Karachi. The biggest limit to our brand is that it's a soda, so the fizz goes in 3 minutes. So we cannot have longer distribution areas in the city. We cannot have one office in one location and then tell the dispatcher to take the whole soda thing in a cup 10 kilometers away. The efficacy of the product is going to go down. We understand that that is why our product is not a perfect product, but within certain conditions, it's the best. We have competition. We have tons of competition. There's somebody who actually replicated our formulas, and they created the branding, which is completely replication of ours, and they tried to compete with us, but they were unable to beat us. And how did we know all this? Is because when our customer comes to us, they just don't come to us once, they come to us every time. And every time when they come, they simply ask, surprise me. And that is the victory session for us, because they are willing to test our new flavors, which gives us the opportunity to get their feedback every time when they come and they use our product. So we have to understand these 4 points are very critical when you are working on a brand or deploying your own brand. So these are the 4 points I have to focus all the time. Okay, so No voice, probably. I think, yeah, there is some internet issue. I'll try to be as loud as possible. So if I'm low somewhere, please let me know. Thank you. So let's talk about how do we create this art of branding. So advertising or branding uh, are two different things, by the way. So the branding is building up the whole situation that how are you going to. So let's put it this way: you go into a bakery and bake a cake. Now that's branding. You put it up in a shelf and you start screaming extra, hey, get the new pineapple cream cheesecake with strawberry, pieces on it. Now that's advertising. So how are you going to do? So the presentation of your product, the presentation of your ingredients, and then how are you going to sell that idea to, how are you going to convince your convince your consumer about the product itself. So how are we going to deal with this? So the very first thing that comes in is called, give me a second. Sorry. Yeah. So create a compelling story. Um, so how do we create a compelling story? It's basically what you need to do. Again, whenever you start talking about your brand, start talking about your advertising, the first question comes, know your audience. If you don't know your audience, you will have a problem. And I'll give you an example. With 1 degree centigrade, when we started deploying it in different areas, uh, especially in the low tier areas, we decided not to go with 1 degree soda. We decided to come up with something which is more hip and relevant to that audience, and they might be able to connect better with it. And we came up with a brand called Soda Jan. So for you who do not understand what the word Jani means, it's basically a word for dude or bro in Urdu, and it's a bit of a slang word. So we started calling Soda Jani. We started building Soda Jani in areas which had SCC and SCCD level people living. However, the biggest mistake that we did was we assumed a couple of things that it will be premium, it will have all the hip feel and everything. That whole hip feel disconnected with the customer. So you spend the whole day with the customer, you understand what takes, what doesn't take, what do they do when they're happy, what do they do when they're sad, how they utilize their approach about life in different aspects, how do they celebrate, how do they mourn, all these things you should know about your customer. When you know about that, so for example, you create a product which comes in their happy time. So you understand that, okay, this is my product. In happy time, when you're excited about these 4 elements, my product will actually help you over there. So that is showcasing the purpose of your product. And then with customer testing and everything, which was highlighted in one of the sessions, you can create authenticity. You can actually communicate the right functional aspect of your product. You can start talking to them. So you create the functional aspects of the brand and you tell them that how they're going to help the emotional aspect of your life through the functional aspect of the brand. And this whole cycle of, highlighting your functional aspects by creating a bridge to their emotional aspect is the game of advertising in India. But you have to keep things very consistent. If you're not going to keep communication consistent, or you're not going to be focused on what you're talking about, you come up with one proposition today, you come up with second proposition tomorrow, people will say that you are a confused brand and nobody's going to follow. So Mahanur Himani says, I'm assuming that this can be applied to brand as a service. Okay, when it comes to brand as a service, what you need to do is, yes, actually all these can be applied over there as well, because your functional aspect can be, so when you talk about the service, your service is there in order to support the customer about something which is bothering them. So yes, the authenticity can be created through it, and then you can highlight, it by the functional approach. And you can highlight that my service is going to bring ease in your system, and or ease in your for certain tasks. or it will automate it, or it will improve it. The efficiency is going to be better. So that service is going to help you out. So, for example, Mangal, if I ask you to organize a trip for me, in which I go to Skadu and I do different things. Since you don't know anything about tourism, you will ask an expert who does that kind of service. And he is going to tell you that these are the 7 places in the 10 days you can go, and these are the things that you're going to experience. This is what you're doing. So this is how they're going to get their service-based product and service. So Ahad asked, what if the customers are not interacting with us directly, meaning online communities? How can we implement the idea? Okay, so my question is online community the product? And what is stopping you to go offline with the customer? That's the same thing. Brands, the older brands, why are they so resonated with the customer? Is because the brands at that point of time had no barrier like an online platform or mobile or anything. Their representatives used to go and do research with customers with one-on-one thing. You need to understand we are still humans. We are still the species that loves to interact on communication. Gen Z is very much savvy when it comes to online interaction, but they are not savvy when it comes to one-on-one correspondence. However, you have to build that connection in order to make sure that they open up, and if they open up, start looking at the customer from their perspective, not by your perspective. That is the biggest flaw that you can create a brand when you start enforcing your perspective to the customer with your perspective and basically show your perspective as a solution. You cannot enforce it. It's up to the customer whether he wants your perspective. And that kind of consistency is going to break the barrier, and people are going to come to you and be involved. So when you create a compelling story, now you come towards the creativity side of it, and you start. These are the points where you're going to work, not just internally, but also externally as well. So be it your emotional side of it, where you're going to talk about your beliefs, you'll talk about your culture, how you're going to fit in the product. If something which is not relevant, which you can't accept as a brand, as a customer, then how will you sell? Then integrate that value internally with the team as well. If you are launching a product or a service which your own team is not happy about, how do you sell it to the customer? That is one, and I kid you not, I've noticed this. Most of the brands, there was a tobacco brand I remember. I was working on it back in 2007. It was at one point of time, it was one of the best brands in Pakistan, and suddenly nobody wanted to smoke that. And the only thing happened was the brand team lost faith on it. They started, their values were gone. They were not working on something that they believed in. And the only thing that they did at that point of time was just create random communications. And those random communications actually created a huge problem in their advertising. And then, of course, that directly came towards the sales, and their numbers started dropping down very, very much. And then, the limitation of communication actually became the catalyst for them to tank the brand. And I think I don't see that brand anymore at Pakistan. So, these kind of things you have to look at. And if you're not going to talk to your customers with transparency, knowing the word and the time and the place that you're living in, they will be your problem. You have to be transparent about it. If you are going to what you call do something under the table with the product, it is going to get tanked. Twitter is one of the best examples at this point of time. Everything started communication, but the values of Twitter that was set by the previous management, Elon Musk was unable to retain those values. Hence, everybody started moving ahead, moving out from Twitter. So and since he was unable to integrate those values internally, the employees were not happy. You could see the whole rift of the system coming in. And people are now losing faith on the product. And then most of the people I know have actually shifted to threats, and they do not want to talk about. Do you have any questions still here?
Ahad Kendozi had a question. He asked, what if our customers are not interacting with us directly, meaning online communities? How can we
I
implement
gave the
that?
answer to that.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah. So, okay, Ahad, the second part of the question, how can we implement this need? Well, the only way you can implement it actually by understanding who your target customer is and start talking to them on a personal level. There is no other way. Online communities normally have two kind of people: one who are actually quite loyal to you, and two who are fake personalities, the fake profile. So you have to identify, and then you have to talk to them. You will talk to 20 people, and out of those 20 people, probably there will be one person who will come to you, but one person will actually create a huge impact. So there is a way, and this is something that you have to track uh, based on this. What is that community that's very famous and within Soul Sisters in Pakistan? That started as an online community, but now it is having offline gatherings as well in order to make sure that all the women-related issues can be discussed. Am I audible? Am I audible? Can you tell me that? Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. So after the core values, when you're looking at stuff, you talk about you actually embrace the differentiations. And when you talk about differentiation, look at the competition. Normally, in scenario when we are whenever we are working on brand building aspects, we focus on customers so much that we actually do not think about what our competition is. I'll go back to one lady centigrade over here. When we started the brand, there was a market leader already present in Karachi called Thirsty. And Thirsty was very, very famous. Everybody knew Thirsty, and we were nobody at that point. So we understood what we did was the first thing that we understood, we realized there are 10 things that they are offering which we cannot beat. But there are 10 things that we can offer which they cannot beat us. So we picked up those 10 points and started focusing on those 10 points where we knew that they will not be able to beat us. And when we started working on that differentiation of ours, the magic started happening and people started looking at our product lightly. And when they realized, oh, so they also have those 10 other products which Thirsty have. So rather than going to Thirsty, we'll come to one BT Center. So this is how we started capitalizing on the competition. Rather than having a brand war with the same thing that they are offering, I should start working on the communication about the same, then I'm wasting my resources and time. So what we did was we started talking about the 10 flavors which they were not offering. And then we said, oh, by the way, we have those 10 flavors as well. But maybe we are talking about these 10 flavors at this point. So we started the competition analysis. We did the niche targeting. We started talking to our product to different niches. So we picked up some organic flavors and started talking to elderly. We picked up some pet flavors and started talking to teenagers. And that differentiation of marketing actually started creating that impact. And we just told them that it's one of the most interesting flavors that you can have because everybody's sick and tired of drinking Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Sprite, 7-Up. But they were not having some really interesting soda flavors because we had what 6 or 7 flavors of them. So we came up with a total family of 22 flavors. By the way, we have an arsenal of 80 flavors at this point of time, but we've only worked on 22 flavors in the market. So this is the level of preparedness that we have. And I want to make sure that whatever we do, we are ready for the next 200 years with our flavors, and our customer will always get something new whenever they come. So with this, we started working on the distinction of our brand personality so that our customer can easily identify us in 10,000 people restaurant. It didn't matter for CO2 who actually copied everything from us. They even copied the shop layout from us, but they were unable to be successful like we were, because we very clearly developed our brand personality and we made sure that the customer, that they see us, and the value that we offer them. So value proposition, the key element of our communication we highlighted is profit. And that is what we've been trying to do, the freshness, the consistent taste, the kick of the soda. We are highlighting that element in all our communication we're telling our customers about. There's one more thing that we did, and I'm really proud of it, is we started working on what's called earned media. So what we did was, we were doing our social media communication, we were doing our PR campaigns, we're calling our influencers to talk about our product, but we also started appreciating our customers. So whenever somebody on Instagram was sharing their reel or story and tagging us, we reshared their story by thanking them. And that bonding that started creating, that whole friendliness, the whole environment of 1 degree centigrade being the best friend, started bringing it up together. And in our peak times, we get around 1 million rupee worth free native ads, completely free earned media from customers. You don't have to run videos at this point. So this is how we embraced the differentiation and started working on our communication and brand. And this is the same way I have a product, and then through advertising, I have a service. So how I actually work on my service at this point of time was, I simply told my client that I will never offend you, but I will always give you the right. It's up to you whether you're going to accept it or not. I will never please, but I will always give you an opinion that would be good for your brand. It might be a bitter pill at that point of time, but just hear me out. Listen to what I'm saying, and then analyze what I'm saying. That respect us, and they want to make sure that whenever they are doing something, they involve us. So when it comes to service industry, you have to make sure that the proposition, the service that you're offering, side of it, where you have to build your visual identity. This is the area where a lot of people do focus, but the idea is not to create something unique. The idea is to create something unique, but also to make sure that whatever you're doing is also very simple and understandable to the customer as well. So of course, the very most important thing, your name, your logo, that, and the second most important, which normally people, I don't know, ignore or do not put a lot of stress on it, is play with the color psychology of it. So if you're a premium brand, you colors like black, darker shades of blue. If you're corporate, if you're banking related product, you want to be friendly, you use blue. If you want to give a strong flavor, you work on red. You want to give light flavors, you work on light blue, golden. These are the color cycles that you play with. How are you going to work with it? If you're a service industry, you make sure that if you want to give a corporate feeling, you work on blues, or at times a bit of darker red or darker green. These are the corporate colors. You start working on them. Or if you want to identify yourself in a very different and unique way, then you use brighter colors. With this, you can actually start working on your typography, how visible your font is, how clear your font is. Can customer read it from this? These are the tactics. So consistent design, and after consistent design, I'm going to talk about adaptability. I'll give you a very funny story. Adaptability in different regions and different languages can cause a lot of problems. So there is a brand, very famous brand, old brand in Pakistan called Ajio. I believe everybody knows about it. Yes or no?
Can you repeat the name again?
Pajero. It's very famous vehicle, Pajero, Pajero. There are multiple ways of saying it. You guys know about it? Yes, Jeeps. So Pajero is actually pronounced as Pajero. And in Spanish language, it's actually not a good word. It's an abuse. So, and you have look, that is why globally Pajero has changed its name, and it's a new, I can't recall the new name, but that is how you have to make sure that when you enter into a new market, you do something sensible so that people should not get offended. Adaptability, new customers, adaptability to new flavors, new services, new country, new culture, new religion. You have to make sure that your brand does not offend anybody. And that is what's when your values are completely clear, you know how you're going to sell your brand. Let me come back to slide number one when we talk about building your narrative and we were talking about compelling story. So when we talk about 1 degree centigrade, I have a very simple story to say that us four friends decided to put all our investments in a project that we believe in, and we launched a very small setup called 1 degree centigrade. And it's a truth. It's 100% true. Four of us friends, we decided to put all the money in this venture, and we took a leap of faith. And similarly, when I started advertising, I was very upset over the only creative approach by most of the agencies, and I wanted to make a difference by talking to the clients on strategic platforms. So I got fed up with the creative agency format, and I stood up and I made my own agency called Advertising. And the philosophy of madness has been inculcated in the team. We're all a bunch of mad people. We do not work on the norms of things in a very normal way. We do respect normal views of the customer, but we also made sure that they listen to us as well. So this is how we created a compelling story, and we started working at our ventures, and we made sure that when we are building our visual identity, it is reflected in that. That is the reason if you go to our social media pages of advertising, you will always see a very snarky and a mad approach to everything. So we do not hesitate. We are not afraid. We want to make sure that other brands are also not afraid. Of course, cultural sensitivities should be kept in mind, but living in fear is not something that a brand should do. So that is what we are trying to preach. I think that is the right. So after that, of course, whatever you do, you create a positive customer experience. If you cannot create a positive customer experience, that there is a problem with it. And most of the brands, they die because if they're very good, but if you can't create a positive experience, people will leave. So how are you going to create that positive experience? By, of course, providing the best customer service. I'm sorry, going back to 1 degree, we have a free soda tasting facility since day one, and it's still applicable for the people. If you want to try a new flavor, you can ask them to give a taster. They come bring a small cup, and that cup will have that flavor, and you can taste it, and then you can decide whether you want to have a full cup or not. You can try it twice, thrice. Nobody's going to ask us, because we want to make sure that our people who are standing on the reception or on the main machine never say no. That is our belief. And we engage with people on social media. We make fun with our friends. We appreciate good feedback. We actually talk to the customer if they come up with a complaint. We ask them what was the problem. I personally actually interacted with a lot of customers on social media on my Facebook comments as well as in the inbox, and I've asked them what is the problem, if I can help, and we made sure that their problems are resolved. Although our product is very small, but we cannot introduce a formal way of launching a loyalty program. But what we do is if somebody we know that is coming on a regular basis, at times we just give the soda for free. Because he's our customer, he's been coming for some time. So he deserves one glass on the house. So these kind of things that you need to do. And earned media that I was talking about, we do a lot of user-generated content. Most of the brands in the world now are successful when they work on user-generated content because that shows the believability. We recently did a campaign with TPL Insurance where they're selling insurances to people on TikTok. And when the brand came to me, the brief was very simple: promote TPL Insurance on TikTok. I said, no, we are not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to talk to people through the people, and we will tell them how can TPL Insurance make your life better. And several issues were highlighted through influencers that, I'm going on a travel and I'm all relaxed. Worst case scenario, the trip is going to be canceled. No worries. My whole trip is insured. Things like these. What will happen if your mobile is snatched? I'm 100% sure a lot of people do not even know that there is a mobile coverage solution that has come to Pakistan, keeping the current economical situation. The snatching is one of the biggest threats. There is a mobile insurance coverage which will allow you to get some money out of your mobile rather than getting nothing out of it. So Ahad, you were asking me, I'm very interested in the point of addressing the social issue. How can you continue standing up for our core values when signing and fighting for social causes without falling into greenwashing? Okay, it's a very interesting topic, Ahad. So my first question is, what is that social issue resonating in core values? If it is not, then you don't need to jump into the gun. Whatever resonates with you, for example, I am one of the people who belongs to a very diversified religious, multiple factors of religious communities within the family. Half of my family is Shia, half of my family is Sunni. There are multiple, other sections well involved in my family members. But when we stand up and we talk about the positivity of that issue and how that positivity of that issue can bring change through the core values that has been implemented by you in your personality or your organization. You highlight that and you talk about it. As a brand, you cannot just stand up and jump every other social issues. The only issues that we can talk about, which are very strong and we are also very vocal about it, is women empowerment. We do believe in women empowerment and we want to make sure. But although we do not use the word empowerment, we believe in women equality, gender equality. So gender equality. Even though I'm the CEO of the company, I make sure that most of the major decisions are not taken by me; it's taken by my team, which is 70% women. And the reason I do that is because I very openly say that women are more creative than men. But then again, it's my opinion. But that opinion gives my team a leverage of giving their own opinion to the client and at times get the best deal out of it. It's not that I'm being mean about the fact that I'm losing their confidence, but it's a mutual agreement, a mutual belief that everybody has that everyone needs it too. Ahmed, you and I can talk about this later on LinkedIn as well. You can just give me a message and you can be very specific about what sort of social issues you want to talk about, and then we can talk about that. Will that make sense? Oh, perfect. Thank you. So, after the user-generated content, the main thing is partnership and I will say something over here right now, which will create a bit of a spark or a controversy. And that line is, do not do advertising, do PR. Now, why am I saying this? Even in your advertising, you should convince your customer why your product is good. Even that is PR. So be very, very specific about how you want to convince your customer. This is what I tell my team. We are not here to do advertising. We are here to do PR through advertising. And they always say, what are you saying? This is the level of madness we play with innovation. So when you do PR, you very simply try to communicate a message to your customer. And that is what you need to do. Your advertising. Did you guys get it or didn't get it? Anyone? Zarun says that she got it. Does anybody? And it's okay if you didn't get it. You can tell me what was the problem and I can explain it to you. Okay, then I'll move ahead with it. So I think this was the last slide actually. So we talk about a lot of KPIs, we talk a lot about ROIs, and we are very picky about spending the money. But one of the key people in advertising and the father of modern advertising, John Wanamaker, very clearly said that half of the money that I will spend on advertising is wasted, but I don't know which half. And that's a fact. You have to be a bit aggressive with your customers in terms of market spending and consumer promotion. And when you talk about that market spending and you go aggressively, Coca-Cola does it very, very well. They just don't talk about their overall brand building, but also they translate their brand building into multiple activities. When Coca-Cola came up with this proposition, Coke Side of Life, they started working on friendship machines, new customer machines. The friendship machine was you cannot take a Coke bottle out until unless you get a help from your friend. And it was very innovative. Just search on YouTube and you will see a lot of interesting Coca-Cola campaigns that they did, keeping their main messaging and point in mind. So with this, thank you very much. Like I said, I am Danish Ejaz and I am Madvertising's CEO, but of course, like I said, my actual CEO is my executive creative director. And she openly, I call her the madness in the organization. So I am open to questions. If you guys have any questions related to the brand and service, I would love to hear and would love